2016. That's almost when this YouTube journey started in the fragrance space. It's been a long time since I've been doing this shit, and obviously a lot of things have changed. When you do content and over 1,000 videos for so long, things tend to develop quality, personality. You start finding your niche and your vibe, and the nose eventually starts to develop. How much though? I don't know. So dating back to 2016, I did a top 5 best cheapy fragrances in my opinion at that time. I still have those fragrances, but are those 5 cheapy fragrances still relevant in 2022? And do I still like them? We shall see. Let's roll my motherfucking music so we can check out and revisit the top 5 cheap fragrances that I recommend from 2016 and 2022.
I'm kind of a big
Blessed morning, my beautiful peoples. You know who it is. It's your boy, C to the U to the B to the A. I cringe watching the old videos. I cringe watching the new videos. I'm just a cringy individual. But listen, we all develop, we all grow, we all change. There's different advancements when you're making content and you start finding your own way. Now, these are 5 fragrances on my mediocre budget back then that really were fun to play with. Like, this was like the whole start of the fragrance journey in the YouTube space. So it was a really exciting time making content at that point. Not saying it's not exciting now, but back then my nose was so brand new, it was so fresh, so virgin-like, that really smelling these fragrances took me to a whole nother planet. Now that I've been able to smell thousands of fragrances, obviously things do change, but we don't want to lose the essence. The original reason why we started this whole content fragrance journey is the whole fun aspect, right? Do we like these joints? Are these playful? Are these fun? Are these cheapy still relevant right now? So I got the 5 fragrances here, and we'll start off with one that no longer belongs in this list. This one hasn't been a cheapie in a very, very long time. A phenomenal fragrance still, but it's literally in the spaces of like $200+ at this point on the eBays. It's a discontinued fragrance, one of the most beautiful bottles in the game, and that's by the house of Van Cleef & Arpels, and that's Midnight in Paris. Midnight in Paris is a gorgeous pottery fragrance that never was understood to me why it was like 30 some odd dollars. This fragrance was easily in the 3-figure spot plus. Now that it's in the 200 whatever dollar space in eBays or gray markets or wherever you can possibly find it, it's worth it. It really is worth it. I think it's a phenomenal fragrance. It has great performance, beautiful powdery vibes. It projects incredibly. The longevity was fantastic. It's unique in its own right. It's not in the space of a Dior, irisy, pottery kind of vibe. It's its own beautiful artistic bottle that really is amazing, but is no longer in the cheapie list. Back in 2016, you could have bought this bitch for like $35, maybe even in the $20 space. Try that now, Chuck. Not gonna happen, but I still think in 2022, this joint is unbelievably amazing. So if you can find Van Cleef & Arpels, this is the EDT concentration. The EDP is even better, but slightly more expensive. But this one is not a cheapie anymore. So technically, it shouldn't belong on that top 5 sexy cheapie list, but it's still amazing. Next one. This next fragrance has been on so many cheapie lists, including like 58 of Jeremy Fragrance's joints. And this is none other than Nautica Voyage. Even the writing on this shit is wearing off. Nautica Voyage is one of these TJ Maxx Century 21 Marshall fragrances that are in the $15, $20, $13 space that was a crazy freshie with super power. Now in 2022, in my opinion, it's still a very nice freshie. It still has performance, but this is also the older bottle. So the reformulations of this fragrance right now might not last absolute shit. Is it nice? Yes. Is it absolutely jaw-dropping as I felt it was in 2016? No. It is very shower freshy feel. I mean, any other commercial body wash foam action joints smell like this fragrance, which isn't a bad thing. Obviously, that's why they sell. But is this gonna, is it still worth the $13, $20? Sure. Is it absolutely sexy? It's nice and fresh and clean and non-offensive. Sexy, I don't know if I will put it in the sexy category at this point. It's just very, very safe, very inexpensive, not horrible, but not amazing. Next one. Now this next fragrance I still consider to be a banger. It's still a cheapy fragrance, it still has crazy performance. In 2016, it was very ahead of its time personally, and I think that this one still deserves a little bit more credit as it used to get back in the day. And the fragrance is none other than Ferragamo F Black Poro. This is still the same old bottle. Now, I don't know how the new ones project or perform, but this one is still a beastly, punchy, peppery fragrance with a really bright, beautiful lavender. It's got synthetic vibes, sure, but who fucking cares? This joint is like 20 some odd dollars. Performs outstanding in the cold weather. Very peppery, very appley, very, I don't know what the fuck else is in here, tonka bean or some shit. Essentially, it's a powerful, mass appealing, compliment getting fragrance that's really nice, spicy, bold, and really, once the wind takes a hold of this bitch in the cold, is crazy. Again, don't know what the new formulations, if they've even reformulated it, but for the price point, you get a lot of bang for your dollar, and this one went from an original honorable mention to should be in that top 5, top 10 space of cheapies that have some balls. Next one. I said that this fragrance reminded me of an old school dad or uncle that used to go clubbing with that nice fake silk button-up shirt and no bell-bottom dress pants, and that fragrance is none other than Montblanc Individual, aka the original Creed Original Santal. This joint right here is still really good. It's still a cheapie, it still holds weight, it still performs well, and still has that Yope-ish DNA. Another fragrance that I feel in 2016 was a little bit ahead of its time because it still can get you compliments in 2022. I don't think it's a super dated fragrance. Granted, a lot of new fragrances nowadays are throwing in that oud vibe and trying to really get into the Middle Eastern vibes, but in a fragrance like this, it's still very simple, very work safe, very transitional from work to the after work situation, and does smell a little bit old schoolish, but it's not dated. I think there's still a place for this sweet sandalwood fragrance to have its mass appeal cheapy vibes readily available for everybody to enjoy. So Montblanc Individual, yeah, it's still in that top 10-ish type cheapy space in 2022, so let's keep it pushing, shall we? Next one. This one absolutely still holds the title in 2022. There's not gonna be one person on this list that's gonna disagree with me, and that is Club de Nuit Intense by our Mops. There's still renditions and flankers and European versions versus the Middle East version, and then the EDT, EDP, Parfum, Intent. There's so many flankers of this joint, and they still slap. Granted, there's been disputes about, oh, if it's from the European or Middle East, this one performs better, or this one has more what? It's a fucking $25 fragrance. Like, shut up. Spray it more if you feel that the performance is shit. Spray it less if you feel like it's a powerhouse. Like, stop, it's 20 some odd dollars. Yeah, it's still fire. Yeah, it's still worn by 1,000 people. And yeah, it's easily in the top 10 best cheapies in the game, maybe even top 5. So Club de Nuit Intense in 2022 still holds the same balls that it did in 2016. Next one. And last and certainly not least, the most awkward bottle in this whole video, our Mops Tres Nuit, aka Green Iris Twizzle. I hate holding this bottle. Like, it's just such an uncomfortable, like when you got small hands, like the atomizer feels like it's such a waste and it dribbles a little bit sometimes. But the scent profile and performance of this fragrance definitely has changed. I've smelled another version of this, a more newer formulation than this one, and the performance was a little bit shitty. But it's kind of like a roll of the dice, right? You don't know which one you're gonna buy whenever you buy these joints on the fucking low. I even heard potential rumors of there being like fake versions of this. I don't know who would be such a butthole to fake a $20 fragrance. Like, you're just... Like, after the years of abuse of this fragrance, I've literally damn near destroyed it. There's like chips and flakes all over this shit from the dribble of the atomizer, but the fragrance itself is still a very solid cheapie and rendition of Green Iris Tweed. Are there better ones? Yeah, there are better ones, but they're also slightly more expensive as well. Not by a lot, but they're still a little bit more expensive. So this is still a great Green Iris Tweed alternative that you can kind of just throw it away and completely forget about it. So in 2022, does this still hold weight? 50-50, right? Like there's other options that are a lot better smelling, and you might want to spend a little bit more just to get those better options because it's not significantly more expensive. So that's me revisiting these top 5 sexy cheapies from 2016. That's like the era of when the titles hit really good and you started getting massive amount of views, because this whole YouTube space is about that title, right? At the end of the day, I like to tell people, buy what you want. Buy what you can afford, buy what makes you happy. All the influence and all the content creators, top 5s, top 10s, all that other bullshit, this is all entertainment at the end of the day. I'm providing you my true interpretations and my true opinions, regardless of what others may think. But at the end of the day, what smells good for me may not smell good for you. So test, test, test. Don't go blind buy crazy. If you ask me blind buy, I'll give you my opinion. Might not work for you though. Always keep that in mind. I love y'all motherfuckers from the heart, and I'll see y'all bitches next time. You know who it is. Biggest in the game. Watch the 2016 video and cringe along with me. Smooches.
Cubaknow, what's fresh, who's best? One of them's gonna pass the test.
For the fly gun holder, money folder, motor roller, start attack when it's time to call back. For the rough, rugged, and raw way, this nigga Jay, it's a game, but he don't play. Hey, for all the chicks that got dead in the penthouse suite on top of my mom's crib. It's nonsense, you never get in. It's nonsense that you would think that you would.